Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? Hope you're happy and healthy, and thank you very much for joining us today. We got a cat with some real connections to the community on board with us. We're continuing our series of interviews, members of Ringo Starr's All-Starr Band. Ironically, we had Todd Rundgren, who of course lives here. Now we're going to have a guest who's got strong connections to Hawaii himself through having played here a bunch in the past, established his own group, Toto, as favorites in the islands. They've got some history, some of their very first gigs, if not their first gig, having happened here. They've even played with the Honolulu Symphony Pops. They've also had some experiences that, when you read the bullet points, makes you want to hear the story. I'm talking about stuff like the tribute to Jeff Porcaro concert with George Harrison, Miles Davis recording on tracks of theirs, this guy's role on sessions with Sir Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson. He's got incredible stories to tell. You can see why Ringo would want him in the band for that, not to mention his playing. His new solo CD is Transition. His connection to the Beatles music apparently stretches back to when he was just 7, I've read, when in addition to buying him a guitar, his dad, in a super cool move, also bought him a Beatles album. We'll hear more about it as we welcome one of music's most accomplished guitarists, Steve Lukather. Aloha, mahalo, my brother. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, man, how's it going?
How's it going for you, man?
It's good, and by the way, Hawaii was our very first gig.
The very first one, way back opening for Frampton, as I recall, in 78.
And Peter and I are still friends to this day. Matter of fact, our sons are friends.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of second-generation kids that everybody grew up around here, you know, living in L.A., I guess. But I love Hawaii, and I've been trying to get back. I really have. I mean, I love it there. It'll always have a very special spot in my heart.
Can you remember that first time coming here with Frampton?
Oh, yeah, man. We played at the Kauai Resort Hotel. It was hilarious because at the time the disco thing was really huge. I played on a ton of disco records back in the day as a young teenage session musician, Donna Summer and all that stuff. And it was like we were a rock band, but they built us America's hottest new disco band, Toto. I think I have a flyer from the first gig, and we went there primarily to get our sea legs, as it were. We hadn't really played live as a band, so we went and for 2 weeks we played every night, 2 sets a night, just to get our chops up. And our first big gig was opening for Peter Frampton at Blaisdell.
You prepped for that on Kauai.
We had a great time. It was just beach all day long, cruise around, and everybody. We were on the radio all the time. You guys like really broke us over there. We were really very appreciative to the Hawaiian people, and like I said, you know, wow, you know, thank you. I've had so many amazing experiences there over the years anyways, vacationing and hanging out, and had some really cool gigs over the years as well. Big Island, 3 or 4 of the islands.
Okay, so most of the major islands you've been to.
Yeah, I've been to all the major. I took a little tour, stayed a couple nights in each one. It's been about 25 years, so.
It totally makes sense that you guys would have established yourself with so many experiences here in the islands, but yet at the same time, you guys are so diverse. The sound is all over the map. It's like virtuoso musicianship. You can cover the R&B feel, the jazzy feel. It's hard rock, and it's so many different things at once with Toto's sound.
People only hear the singles, and they think they were much softer, so sometimes it freaks people out when they see it.
Right.
But, you know, we have the whole thing. I mean, obviously it's a melodic band, the groove, so it has a little bit of an R&B kind of under thing. But, you know, it also, because we work with the Miles and Herbie and Wayne and all those guys, we love jazz, we love classical music, and we love progressive, like 70s prog rock, and we like pop music. And so we kind of put everything in a blender, you know, put some harder edge guitars on it. And that's sort of a hybrid thing that we came up with. I would be hard-pressed to put a label on it.
Right. And, I mean, you guys are known really as a chops band, too, for a lot of people who are really into music and, like, players who are super technically accomplished. Toto has a legacy of appealing to that group of fans. I mean, Toto stretches to a lot of different styles of music.
I mean, we went to high school together, and most of these guys I've known for, you know, I hesitate to say, about 40 years. My Lord. Am I really getting that old? I don't act like it. I look pretty good for, you know, all considered. Considering what I've done to myself with you.
No, and you're playing this phenomenal, dude.
Thanks, man.
We're extremely.
You're a sweet guy to say that. Thanks.
You're a monster. I've admired you for many, many years. And before we get deeper into the Toto thing and your solo album, which I'm always impressed by the things that you come up with as a session musician. You're so skilled and adept at working with just about anybody. I wanted to talk about the Beatles. I mentioned it in the introduction. Tell the story yourself of how far back your relationship goes with the Beatles music.
You know, it's so bizarre. I mean, I get a text from Ringo. It's like, it's like, wow, he's my friend. Matter of fact, he would introduce me on stage as, "This is my very last new best friend I'm not having anymore." And it's become a running gag that we have. I mean, he's a very special man to me. And I mean, the Beatles are why I started playing. I mean, you know, Meet the Beatles, got a guitar and Meet the Beatles on my 7th birthday. And now here I am. I've worked with Paul and George and I. We worked together. We were friends, you know. And now Ringo, you know. So 3 out of the 4, you know. If you'd have told me when I was a little kid, it was like, it was as believable as, space aliens will come into my room and give me the secrets of the world. I mean, it was an unattainable dream, which actually did come true. They were the on switch to my life, you know, and to come full circle like that it's surreal but wonderful.
3 out of the 4 ain't bad, brother. That's huge.
You know, well, that's as good as it's going to get, you know.
It's massive. Now, when did the first Beatle come into your life? Was when?
Paul McCartney on the Thriller sessions for Michael Jackson. That was the first time we met. And matter of fact, because of those sessions, Paul invited Jeff Vaccaro and myself to go to London and do the film with him. And we were there for 2 weeks working with George Martin and Jeff Emmerich, which were the production team for the Beatles. And we were able to hang out with Paul and Linda. And I met Dave Gilmour that week as well. It was an incredible time. I mean, Paul was just like the best, nicest, and Linda was fantastic. Anybody ever say anything bad about that woman, I swear I'll punch her in the face. She was the sweetest, most funny, genuinely great person I met. You know, I mean, she was wonderful. She's like, "I don't want to be in the band. Paul makes me play." It was like, the press spin on that was so wrong. And she was so funny and so great, and Paul was just so gracious. We jammed Beatle tunes and tell you all the stories. I got to play like the real Mellotron, the opening of Strawberry Fields. Where I got to play the real one with the real sounds, and I played that opening on it. It was like when Paul looked up, he's like, "Real?" Like impressed that I actually knew it. I was so nervous. I go, "Maybe I shouldn't." I go to Linda. I go, "Maybe I shouldn't do this, man. Maybe it's not cool." She goes, "No, go for it. Go for it." So I went for it. It was, you know, a great moment. I met George. in a bar, or actually not a bar. It was a club in Hollywood, right after Jeff Vaccaro died. And I was, we went on the road for a while. I was like still in stunned shock mode because I lost my big brother. I'm still shocked 20 years later. I mean, it beats me down. But, getting back to what I was saying, I mean, I knew that he was in this nightclub, and I said, I went up to the VIP, and I said, look, I just want to say hi and thank him. I worked with Paul, and he goes, well, I'll go over and ask him, and because I didn't want to bother him, George Harrison,
Sure.
my first guitar hero, my God, it's George, I worked with a lot of people, starstruck only a few times, This was a big one for me. So he went over and asked George, there's this guy, Steve Lukather, wants to meet. He's like, oh, yeah, I know who he is. I'm like, wow, he knows who I am. That's really a trip. I came over, sat down with him. I just said, I just wanted to thank you, blah, blah, blah. I gave him the heartfelt, and I saw her standing there solo and changed my life, and here I am, And he thought I was funny, and he said, well, sit down, let's talk, And I went, wow, this is unbelievable. So I sat down, I had a couple drinks with him, and we kind of hit it off. He thought I was a funny guy, and he was everything you could ever want him to be and more. Actually, all three Beatles that I worked with, they're the nicest, most together, soulful, unaffected, unegotistical guys you'd ever meet on planet Earth. I mean, and they have every right to be the opposite of that.
Right.
I mean, just how they carry themselves, and it's just a testament to class.
A lot of lessons I'm sure you pick up along the way.
Oh my God, I'm writing a book about my life actually, which will take a few years to finish, but I'm just got the first few sample chapters ready for the publisher, so it's going to be a story about my life in the studios and all these wonderful experiences I've had. I'm going to skip over the sex, drugs part because, come on, it's a cliche at this point. You know? Right. I've never been healthier in my life, but, you know, we all went through the crazier years when our misspent youth being a rock and roller, you know. But, you know, I think it's a boring story that's been told just too many times. You know, I didn't die. Nobody, you know, I didn't, you know, it wasn't that tragic. It was just a little stupid. But I got so much more. My stories are sort of playing on 2,000 records or so. I got a bigger story than just like naming names of stupidity, you know, and calling out stupider times, you know.
No, your story is, like I said, your story is about a crazy musical journey of unparalleled proportion. Well, let's getting back to these cats. How did you? So, what led to the Ringo gig coming up? How did he?
They actually, the guy that produces their show came with my friend Greg Bissonette, who's been in Ringo's All-Stars for, probably longer than anybody. His second drummer.
And filled in with you guys years ago.
And he filled in with us. We've done a million sessions. We've been friends forever. So he dragged Dave Hart, who's the agent and producer for all of Ringo's stuff, to a Toto show in Paris. And they saw me play. And saw the band. Loved the band. But he said, I got to get you in Ringo's band. And I'm like, anytime. Are you kidding me? I would be honored to be an all-star, you know. And I didn't really think much of it. And then Greg's like, I've been trying to get you on the gig for years, and you know. And finally, you know, they called me, and I said I got to do this. I even called the Toto guys because we were supposed to do some shows in the summer. I said, guys, I've turned down Miles, I turned down Joni Mitchell, I turned down Elton. I can't miss this one. I got to do this. You got to let me have the summer. I've said I've been doing this. I'm the only guy that's ever done every gig from the first total rehearsal to the present day. No one's ever filled in for me. And I said I got to call this one. I called Page, and he said you got to do this. I understand. You go. So I mean, it was the best summer vacation I've ever had in my entire life. Ringo is a prince amongst mere mortals. Incredible band. Todd Rundgren, one of your own.
That's right.
Todd. One of the greatest musicians and greatest cats I've ever had the honor to share the stage with, and we hit it off great. I consider him a good friend and, you know, a musical giant. I mean, a real trailblazer, and he's done so much. These guys, I mean, you get around guys like this, and you just gotta shake your head and go, wow, you know, this is legendary guys.
Is that what happens on this thing, Luke? Is that a thing where, like, cats that you weren't previously friends with, now you're buds with?
Oh, yeah. They threw a bunch of strangers in a room and hope for the best. It's really, I mean, I knew Greg, and I worked with Richard Page before from Mr. Mister, but we had never toured before. But, you know, I never knew Mark Rivera, you know, who's got a deep history. Like, you know, his saxophone lick and Sledgehammer, you know, he came up with that, and he's done a million records with Billy Joel, Elton, you know, he's got a rich history of Foreigner and all this stuff. Great musicians, and then, you know, then you got Greg Raleigh from Santana and Journey, who we had met, you know, when he was still in Journey, when Toto opened for them in like 1980 or something.
Right.
You know, so like, I mean, there are people that I kind of met before, but I never knew, and all of a sudden, I had never met Ringo before, and all of a sudden, you know, I turn around and I'm playing. I look around, there's Ringo playing drums. It's very surreal moments, you know. Do
you remember the first time that you met him?
Yeah, we came off the elevator to the first gig. We were first rehearsal. And I kind of wandered out into the elevator, and we had the whole floor, and there was security and stuff. And, you know, I was making some sort of racket, bumping into shit like I do. And this is sober, by the way. And all of a sudden the door opens and it's him. And I'm like, it's kind of like stopped in my tracks, because, you know, I always have that nervous, like, well, what's it going to be like? I hope he likes me, and I hope we hit it off. And he just came up and gave me the biggest hug and said, welcome. And I just looked at the cat. I almost had a tear in my eye. I was like, I'm so honored to be here. Because when they called me for the gig, I said, I don't care about the money. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm in. This is not, you know, music is not always about money to me.
You're the man.
Just give me whatever you take care of. Everybody else is fine with me.
I love it.
I want to do it. What can I do? What time should I be there? And they were laughing, going like, well, cool. Great. So I came into it with the right attitude, and I brought my best, you know, and Ringo dug what I was doing, and we not only enjoyed the tour, but we've become friends, you know, and somebody I deeply admire and look up to, and how to live life. I mean, this guy is 72 years old. He looks like he's 40, smart as a whip, playing great, funny, really, I mean, to look at as someone as a mentor is like, wow, this is how you live a long, healthy life. And his whole philosophy of life and how he eats and how he lives, it's been a real inspiration to me, man, you know. I'm not afraid to get old when you're standing next to a guy that age. It looks they could kick anybody's ass that I know.
Right, the way he carries himself.
Yeah, man, it's just the way he deals with the fans. And, you know, 'cause it's like when people see one of the Beatles, I mean, it's not just like seeing somebody famous, you know. It's another level.
Away from his Beatles side, you mentioned the mentor thing, and I was curious, and I never got around. I just interviewed the other day. I talked to Todd for a long time. We had a lot of cool.
Well, you better say nice things about me.
Oh, believe me, brother. Let's say there's something in your life that's anything that you talk to somebody and get advice, if you will. When you talk about Ringo and making friends and his mentorship, have you ever found yourself in that kind of capacity where you're having like a serious heart-to-heart and he be invaluable in that way?
Absolutely. Oh, my God. Absolutely. Several times. All the things he's been through, I mean, you know, and I would go like, you know, I'm really just beat down over this level, you know, personal problem, you know what I mean? He's got the wisdom. He's got kids, grandchildren. He's been with the same beautiful woman for his whole life. I mean, he's a deep cat, man. Not a guy that's just you know, some dumb guy that got lucky playing the drums. I mean, he's had an incredible life, an extraordinary, and amazing experiences. And he's very wise, very well read, super intelligent, and funny as hell. And has been through a lot of dark times that, you know, that we've, you know, personal things that we've shared. You know, he's a very, very, one of the coolest people I've ever met on planet Earth. I'm honored to know him and call him a friend.
When I was in Boston radio, his daughter was there for a while at like Beth Israel, I guess it was, or something. So, I mean, some of his well-publicized personal stories, I have read a lot about the generosity and the kindness that he showed to everybody every step of the way. So when you describe him in that way, that's why I was just wondering if he had that same sort of take you under the wing approach in your own life when things came up.
He can be intense too. I mean, like he's not by any stretch of the imagination a weak personality. You can't BS him. He'll call you on it. And if he says no, that's not what's happening, man. This is what's happening. Let me tell you why. And he'll back it up with whatever the conversation could be. You know, he's no BS cat.
That's cool. That's cool that you're able to have that because, as I was saying, you know, in your own life it comes up, and it's nice that you're able to learn like that from these pros who you give back so many ways to them by providing the sessions you do, but it's nice that experience comes up. By taking the 2012 tour into 2013, I'm assuming that what you described is there was a lot of gelling behind the scenes. I've only seen the tour once. The one thing that made an impression to me, you've sort of mentioned a little bit, which was everybody on stage sort of looks like they're having the greatest moment of their life, like they get to play with a Beatle. Is it also a feeling of getting to compliment each other's work that's fun, working with these other guys?
This is one of the things, because I've heard a lot of stories about the other incarnations of the All-Stars, and even Todd, you know, he told me. I mean, when I went into this, I went in with the attitude of like, you know what, I want not only Ringo to dig me, but I want everybody on the gig to dig me, and I want to give as much to their music as I possibly can. You know, not only coming in prepared, but like willing to rehearse the vocal parts. Really I wanted Todd's stuff to be great. I wanted Richard's stuff to be great. I wanted everybody's stuff to be, and once everybody realized that everybody was on, there was a warmth, there was a thing that happened that was very organic and never spoken about until way afterwards when we all kind of talked about it one day. We all became friends. There was no ego trips. There was nobody came in with any issues. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody really wanted to work on everybody else's stuff to make it better. And we continued to do this even all the way up to the last night when we played the Greek Theater in L.A. to all my friends and family and stuff like that, you know? And we were still working on making the notes were, I'd go like, no, Todd, I want to work on this part of your tune, man. I think I messed this up. It's not quite right yet. Are you sure that, you know, everybody really dug into everybody else's material, and we genuinely all hung out. We all laughed together. We all there was no, oh, I don't like that guy or clicky thing. It was like all for one for all. And from what I ascertained from Todd and Greg, who had been on some of the other tours, I mean, there was all great guys, but sometimes it doesn't always have a personality, Joe. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily because somebody's an asshole.
Sure.
It just could be because it's just maybe not a real warm guy or not a big personality or whatever,
I totally understand.
We all just got on, man. It was a great team, and it was truly a team. Everybody gets to shine. Everybody's supportive. And we're running around laughing like a bunch of little kids, like with the 13-year-old kids with guitars on, going, wow, look what we get to do. Except we're not 13, but it was just, everybody couldn't wait to go to work. We laughed, we hung, it was the best. It was the best summer vacation of my life. I mean, I can't believe that they actually sent me a check for this at the end of it.
I knew you were going to say that. I was looking in my head saying, you can't believe you get paid for this.
I really. I mean, we're staying in the best places, flying around in a G4, man. We got Ringo. The best of everything. Yeah, I even got him to go to the movies and got him out. We went running on the beach and stuff like that. Stuff that he normally doesn't get to do because he's Ringo, I mean, it's really hard. People say they want to be famous. Really? It's hard to be famous, man. That's a full-time gig.
And you would break him from it?
As much as you can, I mean, he's very stealth. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, he doesn't have like big body. I mean, he's very well protected, but not obviously. He doesn't have like the 9'5", goon standing behind him or anything like that. But there's always somebody around. And he doesn't go out much. It was great to get him out on the beach when nobody was on the beach except for us. Well, he'd just be one of the guys, I loved it. I mean, I love this guy. I mean, I'd see him, and I could go on and on. Can't wait to do the gig again.
Oh, I can tell, dude.
I've had an extraordinary career, and I get to play with my Toto boys, my high school bros. I love them all like my own flesh and blood. But even they're like going, they knew how. They came to the gig in LA, and they were laughing, going like, look at that.
Right.
My 5-year-old daughter, who'd never seen me play before, doesn't know who Ringo is, and Ringo was so sweet to her. And she was in the third row dancing in the aisles watching her daddy play for the first time with Ringo.
Oh, it's crazy talk.
And she's like always going, Daddy, when are we going to see Ringo again? We will. He lives down the way.
So he takes like a family capacity on in some way.
He's a big family man, That's the most important thing in his life, I think, is family,
And you feel that vibration, I'm saying.
Yeah, man, you meet people and they just have an effect on you, in a very positive way. He's a tremendous human being, man.
Absolutely, dude. And you're extremely lucky, and you sound so
I know,
grateful.
And I don't take it for granted. I know. That's why every day I want to bring my best,
There were two things that made me think, when you're walking on the beach or any time with him, was he ever curious about any of the remarkable sessions that you got to do? Did he ever pick your brain about, like, hey, Luke, tell me about working with so-and-so?
Yeah, he's very much interested in what everybody's doing. All sorts of...
That's cool.
I mean, a lot of the times we talk about everything but music. Talk about life. Talk about politics. You talk about the state of the world and where it was, and he'd come up with these unbelievably cool stories of his childhood and stuff. How tough it was for him, and and how then all of a sudden he'd start talking about some of the Beatles' early days and stuff like that, and then we'd all be like, okay,
drooling as he talks.
Well, it's fun to hear it firsthand, man.
Dude, it's war stories from the source.
It's not like somebody told me who somebody told me about a story that somebody told him. It's like, no, this cat was there.
You got it. Yes, he was.
But he's not really interested in talking about what kind of microphones they used on the snare for Revolution or something like that. He's like, I don't bloody know. Don't ask me.
You do that good. You do that really good. That's obviously had a perfect perch to be observed.
Oh, well, I don't want to. I'm not cartooning on him. It's just, there's only a few cats. I wish that I had saved some of the messages. George used to call me. He said, it's George. Gonna have some dinner. It's like, I have these messages, It was amazing.
You never came to Hawaii and hung with him, did you?
No, I didn't. As a matter of fact, I just met Ringo literally this summer.
No, I meant George, because George...
No, I mean, I met George in 1990, it was end of 92, and we had like 4 or 5 legendary kind of hangs. I mean, when I say that, I don't mean partying, I mean just great hangs, you know. And they were all in L.A.
Okay.
I remember he wanted me to take his son to meet Slash, who's a buddy of mine, and that was kind of funny.
Wow. He wanted you to take his son,
Danny, to meet Slash, because Guns N' Roses were still really happening, you know what I mean? And, so Slash is a buddy of mine, so I said, yeah, let's go, you know. I called Slash and go, George wants to come by with his son. He's like, oh, really? Wow, okay. It's a little bit of a surreal moment.
And George was there, too.
Mm-hmm. Drives up to my house in this piece of shit car. I'm like, whoa. He goes, never want to be obvious. It's like people see the guy in some beat-up car, they go, that can't be. I have a lot of famous friends of mine that do this now. It's like Clooney and all this stuff, and these guys drive around these crappy cars, and everybody looks like, that looks just like, nah, it can't be.
I love that.
So nobody bothers him. I've just given up the cover now. See, now everybody's going to get mad at me.
Under the radar. On that same kind of note about the personal time and being sort of down to earth with stuff, when I think about this transition record, when it came to working on that and having that be literally right after the Ringo thing, were you able to run any of that by Ringo? Or did you take the time to ever play him music?
No, I didn't, because I was still, I don't really like to play anybody anything when the work's in progress. And it wasn't done yet.
Okay.
He was like, last time I saw him up at the house, before I went on this, I don't know, a few weeks back, before he went to England, I stopped by at the house, and he's like, well, how's it going? I don't have a copy yet.
So you talk about it with him.
He's very interested. The thing is, Ringo picks the guys that go on the band. I mean, it was really, one of the sweetest things, because Toto's been beaten up by the press, you know what I mean? Over the years, I mean, the mainstream rock press always like, Toto, blah, 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 and we've lived with it for 36 years or 35 years, and, but when somebody asks Ringo, he goes, well, do you really like Toto? He goes, well, who doesn't like Toto? I love Toto. So, like, it doesn't matter what some angry punk rock journalist thinks. Ringo Starr digs it, if the guys in the Beatles dug us enough to hire us, what the heck, that supersedes anything anybody could say to me. Miles Davis called me on the phone. I want you to play in my band. I really like you guys. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So, I mean, if the artists, if you look at our discography, if you look at the people that I worked with who have hired me to play with them, having those people dig what I do is way more important than some disgruntled Rolling Stone journalist, The typical usual suspects that hate everything, I mean, so I've heard everything you could possibly say about it, and I laugh about it. I mean, I was a South Park character. How cool was that, I get the joke. I don't mind being made fun of. Some of it was mean, but, whatever. It's par for the course, Now we have the internet so that you can be the human pinata. I love this. I mean, what is this whole thing? Like, dislike. It's like if you walked into a room and you had a hologram of like or dislike next to you, right and left. Would people point at it in front of you? I
tend to agree because I post my videos of interviews I do on YouTube, and I always disable all the comments. Here, you watch it. If you like it, you like it. I don't need to have some...
Oh, man, it's like a bunch of 9-year-olds that have had too much sugar going at each other,
Yeah, it's exactly it, dude.
Once they disagree, then they start on each other.
And it's all personal. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, right. You're ugly. You're this. Look at this. I mean, yeah, there's some things on there I wish I could take off. When I used to drink, I mean, there's a couple of drunken jams on there that I really would love to be able to take off. And the people just don't want to let it go. It's like, please take that down, please. It's like if I had a video of myself falling down the stairs, breaking my arm, busting my front 2 teeth out, and there was a 35,000 comments of people laughing at me or something like that. It's funny unless you're the guy in the film, It's like, okay, I get it. Have you had your way with me now? Okay, can we move on? I'm not that guy anymore, It's really unfair, man. Some of it's like, wow, really? And these are people with the fake names. I mean, they walk up to you in an AM show, go, oh, and really nice to meet you. 2 minutes later, oh, that guy sucks. He's a dick or whatever,
Oh, that's
the nice things they say.
The anonymity is what's making people become even more vicious, I think.
Well, a lot of it is misdirected hatred. And my shrink told me, that he was treating a guy what he would do is he would go on whatever Facebook fan page or whatever site or whatever blog, and whatever everybody liked, he would purposely go against them and hate on people because he was miserable himself. he didn't even necessarily really dislike the people that he was bagging on. Just an exercise for him to get his own anger on somebody else. Well, there's a lot of people upset in the world because things are tough. I get that. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet Earth. But, I got a lot of emotional issues personal things in my life that are really painful and hard to deal with. We all have the same problems, really. I just have an extraordinary job that I'm very lucky to have, On the other hand, I was gone 200 days this year, and my kids, or my little ones, think I'm a
ghost.
Skype TV show.
Is that how you communicate with them mostly?
Thank God for that, yes.
Or what would you do?
It cost me a couple of marriages. I mean, there's a price to everything. I'm not talking necessarily financially, but, I'm just talking about emotionally. The high is high, the low is low in a period of 3 hours, It's
kind of like what you were saying about Ringo and all of the celebrity. Like, it's not all it's what it's cracked up to be. There's a lot of...
I tell my doctor, I tell anybody, I say, okay, I want you to do whatever I do. You just eat what I eat, you sleep when I sleep, you go where I go, you experience everything but the actual playing of it because you don't have the facility to do so, and do that for a summer. And come back and you tell me, jet lag, the whole thing, overseas, blah, 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 You just let me know how that works, how you doing. I've been doing it for, 36 years. Most people can't hang. It's a tough wear and tear. I mean, the 2 hours on stage, I don't get paid for that. That's not where I get my money. I get paid for the other 22 hours a day.
Right.
Missing family events, missing my kids, this, being sick and having to be on the road and travel.
Sacrifice.
There's a lot of emotional things that I'm hard pressed to actually tell you what they are because some of it I just trying to work through myself. But, being that I don't beat myself up and I'm a super healthy guy, it's a lot easier. But when, the old cliche, why do people always get messed up on drugs and booze and all this stuff? Because you just don't know how to, your body, your mind and your soul or your personality is like, I don't know if I'm going up or down. You're coming down off playing in front of 10,000 people. The rush of that to all of a sudden complete silence of your hotel room. And then all the other aspects of it,
wow, that's it right there, though. It's the rush, isn't it?
It's a very bizarre emotional and physiological experience, is all I can tell you.
That rush, the end of the rush. I know what you mean. It's kind of like being on the radio.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Trying to chase the buzz, when you're doing your thing, time rips by. And all of a sudden, there's nothing.
Yeah, man.
And you're alone. You don't know what to do with yourself. I mean, I had to retrain my whole life. And I'm glad I did, but,
You still struggle with it, or you've got it down?
No, I don't struggle with anything. It was one day I quit smoking cigarettes and boozing and everything. I said, I want to be healthy. I feel terrible. I look bad. I don't like myself. I'm depressed. There's only one reason that can be. I said, I got to, here I am. I mean, I'm 55 now, but, this happened when I was, just turning 50, and I was like, this is not working for me anymore. So I just woke up one day, and it was it. I wasn't like, a falling down alcoholic, but I could drink. I was drinking way too much.
So you don't struggle with anything in terms of, I'm saying, the lack of the rush. When you leave the stage, that must be just such an incredible high to be on stage. Is. What do you do for it? It's
extraordinary. I mean, I really can't, it's hard pressed. I'm hard pressed to, you can't put into words. It's like the greatest drug in the world, but it's good for you. But then you're left feeling empty. It's strange. I know
what you mean.
It's like having great sex or something like that. You get to do it again, but you're exhilarated and you're spent at the end of it. And sometimes you just don't feel like rolling over and going to sleep.
Empty, though. I liked it when you said that word.
Yeah, well,
you had a good description of it. Has there been an impact of your sobriety on when you listen to Transition and you think about this?
The last few albums have been coming through the dark transition. Was the old me to the new me. And all the pain and experiences, good, bad, and ugly. Are all there. That's. I mean, I'm not writing about going to the club and my fast new car and all that. I mean, I'm not 18 years old.
I get it.
It's a more mature view of the world and what's going on in it. I mean, I got two generations of kids, 27, 25, 5, and 2. So, I mean, I've been through a lot of stuff, amazing experiences, some of the funniest, most amazing experiences to the darkest, most horrendous experiences. And, you just kind of, where does that all fit into real life? And what is real life? And now I found my muse. I found my smile. I'm healthier than I was when I was 30, so I look better. I feel better. I'm playing better. Everything's better. So the answer to that is I don't begrudge anybody having a good time, man. When every night, Saturday night, it'll catch up to you after 3 or 4 decades,
Sure.
Everybody wants to party with you afterwards. That's the thing. It's their night out. And it's easy to get sucked into it because you're coming off let's have a couple drinks. Yeah, and then a couple drinks turns into 10. And, and then you just do that for over and over and over again. And you don't mean to, but eventually some people become stone cold alcoholics, junkies, or whatever, some people dabble and never have to have a problem. Everybody's different. I can't generalize. It's a broad statement, I know.
Nah, that's cool.
But, it's really easy to do the knee-jerk, this is what I'm supposed to be. I'm really not happy, but I'm going to be a clown. So, 5 or 6 drinks makes me the clown. I have a good time. I laugh. I wake up feeling like shit and move on to the next town and do it all over again. Now, you can do that, when you're, in your 20s and 30s, but it starts to get a little bit more of a beat down as you get older. And some of my friends didn't learn. Yeah, people my age now are they're having all these procedures and cancer of this and this is wrong and this is wrong. I don't have any of these things, man. I pulled out of the dive before I crashed, man. Yeah, I'm one of the lucky guys. It doesn't bother me at all. Some people lose their sense of humor. They become reclusive. They don't laugh anymore. Quite the opposite. I became much more my real self. You know what I mean? I know that's the same with most of the guys that I know. Ringo's like that. He's hilarious, and well, it's not my place to talk about his personal stuff, but he's a guy that pulled his life together, and he's a shining example of how good life can be without all the mucking it up with a bunch of garbage in your system. I'm not into poisoning myself now.
I like the way that he's inspired you and is a constant source of inspiration, too.
Yeah, man. One of the coolest guys. I'm honored to call him my friend, really. All the guys in the band, all the All-Stars, man. They're just killer guys, man. And
you almost had Richard, right? Didn't he he was offered a slot as...
Yeah, well, he turned it down because Mr. just got signed and they were about ready to bust open, and they did. And, but we've always been friends. I played with him when he was in his band Pages.
That's neat.
Before Mr.
What a cool journey.
We've known each other since the 70s. We've done all kinds of things together. I consider Richard a dear friend, man, and one of the greatest singers ever. Man, dude, that's the thing. I'm standing on stage. I'm looking around. There's Richard Page. There's Todd Rundgren. These guys throw it down, man. I'm cracking up going, for me to be in a band like that, it's different than being in Toto, where my high school bros, we wrote and sang everything. We know what that is. This is like being in, all of a sudden I get to be in another really cool band with, really great players as well. And it's all new, you know what I mean? So it's every night, it's woo, I'm still giddy. I'm I get to play this song. I get to play this Todd Rundgren song with Todd. I'm not jamming it at a club,
Right.
It's the same thing, and Rich throws down so hard, man. And everybody, man, playing the Santana stuff with Greg Raleigh. I just watched Woodstock on TV when he was 20 years old or 18 years old. But I'm playing those same things with him live.
Anybody can go on YouTube and take a look at the tour from last summer, and man, is it burning. You own those tunes when you guys do Evil
I
Ways.
have fun. Sometimes I get all excited. I play too much. I got to
No, you slam it, brother. Don't even say that. Play more. It sounds so good. You own those tunes. When you step up to bat on those songs, it's they sound so muscular. It's bam.
No, well, I have a ball doing it, man.
Yeah.
I like to see Greg laughing at me. He likes what I do, so that's cool. Pay homage to Carlos. He's an old friend. I'm a fan. Try to do it with respect.
Greg busts a big smile when you do that. He has a big smile.
He's a sweet man. On his new record.
You did? You played on Greg's?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's you become his family. All of a sudden, you're oh yeah, I'm not gonna take any money off of you. Screw it. Just send me some. I'll throw a few solos on. If you like it, use it.
What a good guy. That's why people love you. Hey, brother Steve, I hope this was okay today. Did you have fun?
It was great. Thank you very much.
You're a hero in Hawaii and a hero to many guitarists.
Well, I really want to come back, so I may be back on a vacation soon.
I'm going to come see you guys in
No,
February.
man, sure, man. Just get in touch. You know, Elizabeth, she'll hook you up there, and she'll get you to my guy.
Yeah, and we'll record a nice little follow-up all about transition.
I really appreciate it, man. And thanks for your time.
Steve, you're a good man. I'll see you in Sydney. I promise I'll bring you some chocolate-covered macadamia nuts or something nice from Hawaii.
Great. Love it. Thank you very much, man. There's some cool stuff on it. Appreciate any and all support.
Nah, you're a good man. I give you a hug and a high five. I hope you had fun
You got
today.
it, man. Say hey to Ozark for me.
Of course I will, brother.
Great.
I'll see you soon, Steve.
Bye now.
Aloha.